from episode 5, the Bimini.
Been pretty apprehensive about screwing anything into the hull, but I figured these were on top of the hull, so really only rainwater and splashes are all you're worried about getting inside the hull. I also figured if I made a few mistakes, it would give me an opportunity to figure out how to do plastic welding in the future. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since we've been fishing, and we won't be fishing today. It also has been even longer since we've done any type of boat DIY projects, and the one that you guys have requested the most has been plastic welding. Of course, in putting in the Bimini top, and I said in the Bimini video that I made the mistakes and drilled holes and had holes in the top part of the hull that I needed to fill in, and I did that by learning a bit of plastic welding. So not going to be a fancy video today. We're not going to do a lot of production. We're just going to get right down to do some plastic welding. So I'm not going to weld on the actual boat. I don't see any need to put holes in the boat just to turn around and fix them. But in doing some of the other work on the boat, I've got some scrap pieces of plastic of the actual hull material. So we'll take that inside. We'll drill some holes in it, and we'll do some joins and some other things. This will only be the second time I've ever done plastic welding. So anybody that's an expert in this can get in the comments and critique me and help inform the group as well. All right, so drill bit. And this is the plastic I was talking about. Just experiments and remnants from when we were working on putting the boat together. And this is the super generic plastic welder that I bought, of course, on Amazon. Instruction manual. So I guess what I really bought is a hot staple gun, not necessarily a plastic welder, but it works. This is what we have. So in here are staples of different sizes. That's that one. Yep, so we've got M staple, Z staple. Oh, there you go, it tells right there, outside corner. Then the V staple, inside corner. And this staple is for large surfaces. For our purposes, I use just a simple, what is that one, the V one? This is what I use. It also comes with this tip, which I've never really played around with. And so you take the ends and that just goes in to there, and that's it. We're ready to go. All right, so we've got this hole here that I drilled as a center hole, and this was for one of the gauges on the console. But let's say you drilled a hole for your Bimini or for a gauge or something else, and now you want to fill it. Find other pieces of plastic or cut other pieces of plastic of your hull in your hull color, and use that sort of like stick welding. Plastic welding is stick welding, I guess. I was liking it more to soldering, but really it's more stick welding, and you fill that plastic in there. For a hole this size, I'd probably just try to find a piece of plastic that I can stick all the way through. That way on the backside you've got some material. Obviously, if it's on the outside of the hull, you're not able to get inside the hull to melt on the inside part. So you're only going to melt the outside portions here and try to get a good seal so that your 100% waterproof on this side, you're not likely to melt the entire thickness, so you're not going to have as thick a plastic, but the goal is to have it at least on the surface, at least a few mils thick, so that it's waterproof. We'll put this here for a bit of protection, and putting that inside. Yep. And so right now what I'm doing is using the wire and the heating element to basically cut this. I left a bit of plastic proud on our side, and so now you can see that there's a bit of a stud hanging out, so it's a bit proud on this side. We're going to melt that into there and then melt around. That's not good. Alright, we've lost our heating elements. Okay, so we've melted the plastic stud, the filler material down quite a bit, but there is still some daylight in there, so we just keep melting on this side of the hull, trying to move that melted plastic into those gaps. Heating the surrounded plastic, making it one. If you need, add more filler material. What I'm doing there is just slicing off another little chunk. Got myself another little chunk of plastic, and I'm just going to melt that and fill the holes. Still see that little hole there, so I'm going to try to melt this into that spot. I'm going to change tips. Somehow I feel like this end is not as warm as I've had them in the past. So where the filler material is proud, I'm starting at the top and just taking the peak off of it and making it a pool of melted plastic that I can then move around. Because it's liquid, move it around that space. Then once we get it sort of level, start working the edges to do the actual weld, where you're heating the actual hull plastic and the filler plastic at the same time and making it one. I think we're good. Actually, we'll do this one next. So this is a big long gash that I did. And I don't remember why I cut this, what the point of this was, but we'll do similar. We will cut a piece of filler material and we'll weld it in. Okay, I think the camera cut off on me, so I think I got some of the start of this patch. You can see, but you can still see the outline of the silhouette of the original hole that's there. Because I think I lost some of the video for doing this one, is we'll drill one more hole But maybe while we're at it, maybe we sand this down and see how nice we can make that. If you don't have one of these, highly recommend it. It's called a finger sander or thin belt sander. Very helpful, and you could dial in your speed as well, variable speed. And you can start to see the outline of where we filled in even better. And from there, if you're satisfied, you could be done. Or you can come back through and hit one more time with some heat around that element, around that edge, to just make sure you've got a good seal. I'm comfortable with that. If it were on the boat, I would maybe take a little bit more material around the outside off, just to make it a cleaner look. But yeah, it's pretty smooth. But let's do one more, just to make sure we've got it. And I brought the drill for a reason, because I think this is the most likely repair that you guys are probably going to face, is you've drilled a hole in your boat. But now you need to fill that hole. Inside of the hole you won't be able to see. What you'll see is on this side, but you can guesstimate the thickness of the hole based off of the material that you're using to fill, and you go, okay, I only need about that much through. Cut that off and start welding. You just want to create a pool of hot plastic that you can start pushing into the holes, into the gaps. And once you've got it, start with the tip, pushing in a little deeper, just to make the bond between the hull and the filler plastic. Once you're satisfied that you've got that bond, you can start trying to flatten it out a bit. And as mentioned, you can heat and put in more filler material. And again, I'm raising this piece up to get it at the right angle for me to do this, but obviously if it's on the boat, you're going to have to maneuver your tool to get the right angle to make it flat, to start flattening it out. It's like spreading butter on toast. Using the flat edge of the heating element there is the key. So getting the right angle is going to be important. There you are. So it's a bit cooked. We've got that caramelization in there. And that's the hole on the other side. Let's sand it down and see what we got. I mean, that's rough, quick and dirty, but that is how you plastic weld polyethylene. It's how you plastic weld the Whaly boat. Alright guys, I hope you liked that. If you did, smash the like button for me. It really helps the algorithm. And I want to say a congratulations to us all. We just went over 200 subscribers. So thank you all for joining. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for subscribing. Hopefully the next video we'll either do some other DIY work or we will get back out on the water and go fishing. But that's how you plastic weld, guys. Smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.